Your go-to spot for everything Seattle, the city that just handed New England a loss on the grandest stage in football. Yeah, we're Super Bowl champs, baby. Let that sink in for a second. But while the confetti is barely off the ground, the front office might already be cooking up 2 moves that could turn this roster completely upside down. And trust me, this isn't minor tweaking. This is bold, eyebrow-raising stuff. We're talking about possibly shipping off a young quarterback with freakish speed and serious dual-threat potential, and parting ways with a ring-chasing veteran receiver who literally just helped bring a Lombardi trophy back to the Pacific Northwest. Wild, right? Let's get into it. The quarterback situation. Cast your mind back to last offseason. Seattle brought in Sam Darnold after parting ways with Geno Smith, and the quarterback conversation was already heating up. Then a month later, the Seahawks snatched a former Alabama standout in the 3rd round, a kid with blazing 4.37 speed and a rocket for an arm. Fans immediately started daydreaming. That rookie, Jalen Milroe, had gadget packages drawn up for him early in the year. People were whispering about whether he could eventually push Darnold for the starting spot. But after a fumble in early October sealed a loss to Tampa Bay, his reps vanished. Darnold, meanwhile, caught absolute fire and rode that momentum all the way to a championship ring. Now, according to Bleacher Report's Alex Ballentine, there's a proposed trade that would send Milroe to the Miami Dolphins in exchange for pick number 75, a mid-3rd rounder. On paper, that sounds like reasonable asset management, especially when Seattle only has 4 picks heading into the 2026 draft. Turning a 3rd-string quarterback into a draft pick isn't exactly highway robbery. But here's where I tap the brakes a little. Milroe is 22 years old. He's still on a dirt-cheap 4-year, $6.2 million rookie deal. Quarterbacks with 4.37 speed and legitimate arm strength don't exactly fall out of the sky, folks. And in today's NFL, one injury to your starter changes everything overnight. We've seen it happen too many times. Giving up on a developmental QB after 1 season, especially one where he barely played, feels a touch hasty, don't you think? If the front office genuinely believes Darnold is locked in for the next few years, then sure, flip Milroe for the draft capital and move on. Smart business. But if there's even a sliver of doubt about that, you might want to hold on to the kid a little longer. Year 2 or 3 developmental curves can surprise you. The Cooper Kupp question. Alright, now here's the one that stings a bit more emotionally. Fresh off winning Super Bowl LX, there's already speculation, courtesy of the Sporting News, that Seattle could release Cooper Kupp. Yes, that Cooper Kupp. The guy who just won his 2nd championship ring, first with the Rams and now with us. Before anyone loses their mind, let's look at the numbers calmly. During the 2026 regular season, Kupp posted 593 receiving yards, just 2 touchdowns, and a career-low 1.39 yards per route run. Compare that to his absolutely ridiculous 2021 season with the Rams, 1,947 yards, 16 touchdowns, and it's clear that version of Kupp isn't walking through that door again. He's still smart, still clutch in big moments, still one of the sharpest route runners in the league, but he's not the same explosive force he once was, and that's just the reality. Now add the financial layer, a $17.5 million roster bonus set to trigger in mid-February. Cutting him clears nearly $10 million in breathing room. That's not chump change. That's the kind of money that could go toward locking up Kenneth Walker III long-term, or keeping cornerback Rick Woolen in Seattle where he belongs. Add in the emergence of Rashid Shaheed, who was a genuine game-changer after the trade deadline, and suddenly the offense doesn't look so desperate without Kupp's price tag. Still, something feels off about cutting a guy right after he helped you hoist a trophy. Veteran leadership, championship DNA, big moment reliability. You don't just throw that out the window without a second thought. If restructuring his contract is on the table, I'd explore every option before letting him walk. But if it truly comes down to paying for past production versus securing the team's future pillars, this front office just proved it knows how to build winners. I trust them to make the hard call. So where does that leave us 12s? Seattle just won it all. And now we're already talking about tough decisions that could define the next chapter. That's dynasty building in a nutshell. No sentimentality, just strategy. Do you trade the electrifying young quarterback for draft capital? Do you release the veteran receiver to protect the salary cap? Neither answer is comfortable, and honestly, that's what makes it interesting. Drop your takes in the comments. I genuinely want to hear what you think. And if you're still riding that Super Bowl high, smash the like button and subscribe to Seahawks Nation Update. We're pushing toward 2,000 subscribers, and only the real 12s are making it happen. This is Victor, signing off. Super Bowl champions, and we're just getting warmed up. The number you need to burn into your brain right now? Because the Seattle Seahawks, your reigning Super Bowl champions, are already stirring up the NFC West before the offseason even gets its legs under it. We've got a rule change brewing, a cornerback the league is quietly calling a top 20 talent, and a quarterback trade rumor that could shuffle the depth chart before anyone sees it coming. Oh, and the Rams? They're so salty they literally walked into the league office to try and rewrite the rulebook. And if that doesn't hook you, there's a double cliffhanger at the end that'll have you staring at the ceiling tonight. Hit like, subscribe, and let's get into it. The Rams are still fuming, and now they want new rules. Weeks after Sam Darnold lifted the Lombardi Trophy at Levi's Stadium, Los Angeles is nowhere near over it. They're not sulking quietly in the corner either. They are actively marching into the NFL owners' meetings with film, lawyers, and enough bottled-up frustration to potentially change how this game is played. Here's what set them off. Week 16. Seattle trailing. 6.5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Darnold drops back, fires toward Zach Charbonnet on a screen. Jared Verse, one of the most disruptive edge rushers in football, appears to blow the whole thing up. The ball hits the turf. The Rams celebrate. But after review, officials determined the throw was a backward pass, meaning the ball was still live even after hitting the ground. Charbonnet casually walks over, scoops it up in the end zone, and suddenly Seattle has the 2 points it needed to tie the game at 30. The Rams sideline absolutely lost it. Coaches screaming, players pointing at the replay screen. That kind of anger doesn't fade quickly, and apparently it hasn't faded at all. Per Jonathan Jones at NFL on CBS, Los Angeles is formally proposing a rule change targeting exactly this kind of play. A backward pass that lands incomplete but stays live. This isn't just venting. This is one franchise trying to rewrite football history because of one play on one December night. And honestly, you can kind of understand why it stings so bad. Without that safety, Seattle probably loses in regulation. No win, no NFC West title, no division title, no home field advantage. No home field advantage, no 31-27 NFC Championship victory over those exact same Rams. Every single championship memory 12s are holding right now can be traced back to that one backward pass. Wild. So do the Rams have a legitimate argument, or is this just a team that can't accept a loss? Drop your thoughts below. The secondary needs fresh blood, and the answer might be at pick 32. Here's something people aren't talking about enough yet. The dark side. Seattle's suffocating secondary that held New England to 13 points and generated 6 sacks on Super Bowl Sunday is in real danger of being broken up. Rick Woolen, Josh Jobe, and safety Kobe Bryant are all heading into free agency. That's potentially 3 key pieces of a championship defense hitting the open market in the same offseason. That's not a small problem. That's a dynasty-threatening problem if it isn't handled right. Coach Mike Macdonald built his entire defensive identity around elite cornerback play. Devin Witherspoon is locked in. Nick Eman and Worry are accounted for. But opposite Witherspoon, that spot is wide open. And wide open spots in championship defenses, that's where dynasties start to crack. Enter Avon Terrell. The Clemson cornerback declared for the 2026 draft back in December, and the analytics crowd immediately flagged him as a first-round caliber talent. Per a mock draft from the Athletic's David Deant, Seattle grabs Terrell at pick 32 overall, and here's the part that gets your attention. Terrell reportedly sits at 18th on Boogler's overall board, meaning the Seahawks could be landing a top 20 player with the 32nd pick. That's the kind of value that makes front offices giddy. The numbers back up the hype too. In his final college season, Terrell racked up 48 combined tackles, 4.5 for loss, 9 pass deflections, 3 sacks, and 5 forced fumbles. Over 39 career games at Clemson, he totaled 25 pass deflections and 8 forced fumbles. That's the kind of ball-hawking, turnover-generating production that translates quickly at the next level. He's on the smaller side, smaller than his brother AJ, the Atlanta Falcons QB, but Macdonald's crew drafted Devin Witherspoon undersized back in 2023. One Super Bowl ring later, nobody's complaining about that decision. Is Avon Terrell the next cornerstone of the dark side? Drop your prediction below. Milroe at the crossroads. And now we circle back to the young man at the center of everyone's quarterback conversation. Jalen Milroe, Alabama product, 3rd-round pick, owner of a 4.37-second 40-yard dash that had scouts buzzing at the 2025 Combine. When Seattle drafted him, the excitement was genuine. A dual-threat weapon lurking behind Darnold, a chess piece for coordinator Clint Kubiak to deploy in creative ways, made perfect sense on paper. Then reality showed up and changed the plan. Darnold was so sharp, so decisive, so locked in that Milroe barely got a foothold. He appeared in just 3 games all season. Then came October 5th, a fumble against Tampa Bay, and just like that, he was quietly removed from the rotation entirely. 3rd string, learning from the bench, watching Drew Lock ahead of him, watching a full playoff run from the sideline, Super Bowl ring in his hand but not one earned through snaps. Now Bleacher Report's Alex Ballentine is floating a trade proposal, Milroe to the Miami Dolphins for pick 75 in the 2026 draft. The reasoning is clean. Miami needs a quarterback. Tua Tagovailoa's future in South Beach is murky, and Milroe's athleticism, described as reminiscent of Malik Willis, is exactly the kind of mobile upside the Dolphins might be looking to rebuild around. For Seattle, that 75th pick would become their 5th selection in a draft where they're currently working with just 4. Depth matters when you're defending a championship. But here's the thing, Milroe himself doesn't sound like a guy who's mentally checked out. Speaking to Yahoo Sports, he said of learning from Darnold and Locke, they've been on multiple teams and they've seen so many defenses. With that experience, you're able to teach, you're able to be more confident, and you're able to play much faster. That's not someone ready to pack his bags. That's someone who believes his chapter in Seattle isn't finished yet. The question is whether the front office feels the same way. Do they trust the upside enough to keep developing him? Or does a third-round pick feel like fair compensation for a guy who's barely seen the field since September? What would you do? Trade him or keep him? The bigger picture. 3 storylines. 1 undeniable truth. The Seattle Seahawks are champions, and now the entire rest of the NFL is scrambling to catch up. The Rams are so unsettled, they're trying to change the rulebook. The secondary that won the title needs reinforcing. A top 20 talent might be sitting right there at pick 32, and a former third-round pick with elite speed is at a career crossroads that could reshape this roster before a single 2026 snap is played. This franchise isn't sitting back and enjoying the view. Macdonald, Schneider, and ownership are building something bigger than one ring. If Witherspoon and Terrell anchor the cornerback room together for the next 5 years, that's a foundation. If Milroe gets moved for the 75th pick, that's more firepower for a draft board that needs more options. Every offseason decision stacks on top of the last. Every move either extends the window or chips away at it. And the 12s waited 11 years between championships. Nobody's interested in waiting 11 more. Here's what I need from you right now. 1. Smash that like button if you believe Seattle isn't just a champion but the new standard of the NFC for the next 3 years. 2. Drop your boldest 2026 prediction in the comments. Do the Hawks repeat, or does somebody finally figure them out? 3. Hit subscribe, because every new subscriber is a message to Rams fans everywhere that what happened in Week 16 wasn't a fluke. That was destiny. And before you go, there's still one move missing from this offseason puzzle. A quarterback hasn't been re-signed. A final roster decision is still pending. Sources say the front office is waiting on one more domino to fall before they commit to the full structure, and that decision is expected within 72 hours. Meanwhile, across the division, the Rams aren't just crying about rule changes. They're quietly rebuilding their roster with one stated mission: ending Seattle's reign in 2026. Which team moves faster? Which front office blinks first? That story drops next. 12s. The defense of the title starts right now. Stay locked in.